It's the Queen City Music Podcast, the podcast devoted to the local music scene in Charlotte, North Carolina. Here's your host, Matthew Ablan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Queen City Music Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Ablan. Before I get to today's interview, I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Nathan Richie. It is actually Nathan's voice that you hear introducing the podcast at the start of each episode. Nathan was kind enough to lend his voiceover talents to the QCMP, and I wanted to thank him for it. If you'd like to find out more about Nathan, you can head over to the show notes, and there is a link to his webpage there. Today, I am back out in Plaza Midwood, and once again, I am at Midwood Guitar Studio. If you remember in episode 1, I was here speaking with luthier Craig Landau. If you haven't checked out episode 1, go back and take a listen. However, today, I'm speaking with the owner of Midwood Guitar Studio, Douglas Armstrong. Hi, Doug. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Appreciate you coming out to our shop again.
It's my second time out here. So the first episode of the podcast, I was interviewing Craig. Before we get started, how did you hook up with Craig?
I've been thinking about this boutique concept for, years. And a friend of ours, Paul Gussler, he's a local amp builder, Oldfield 2 amplifiers. And Paul introduced me to Dan, who in turn introduced me to Craig Landau. So that's how we all got connected.
Okay.
It was through a mutual friend.
So you hadn't known him for years?
I knew of Craig, but I didn't know him personally.
Okay.
Same thing with Dan. And then Paul introduced me to Dan, and then we started talking about the shop, and then Craig got on board because Craig was wanting to change where he was working. And so he came out and laid his space out here. And so it was pretty neat. That was like the summer of 16.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I had talked to Craig about it, and then he told me you were over here, and I was like, wow, all right, let me come check out the shop and see what's going on.
It was really important for us to get Craig. Craig's got his own business, but he does take care of our guitars as well and our customers, so it's a big added value.
Does Craig set up some of your stuff in here?
He does everything that we sell. Craig checks it out.
Okay, awesome. Well, you got a top-notch man on that.
Oh yeah, he's excellent. We're very fortunate to have him.
So what's your music background? Now, the Midwood Guitar Studio is your store.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a musician? Do you have a music background? What's going on?
Yes and no. I'm not a full-time. I'm a guy that's always loved music, and I dabble with it. I played sports. I did everything. Music was probably second or third in my life growing up. In high school, I used to DJ. I played guitar, but I wasn't very good. But I mixed records and played basketball. So I did that pretty seriously for a while.
Right.
And then I wanted to be a recording engineer because I loved to record back in the tape days. And then I grew up in a construction family. My father was always in the construction business.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Just looking over at
I was just checking it out. And so I grew up doing that. And then I went to college at East Carolina Construction Management School, finished there, and dabbled in. Everybody there in the dorm had a guitar. So, of course, I went and got a guitar and played a little bit, but nothing real serious. And then I spent 30 years with a company here in Matthews, an industrial construction business. And I left there this past December. I sold my interest in the company. And this is a 100% venture for me now.
Wow.
So that wasn't exactly the plan, say, a year ago, but it's worked out. And, I had a chance to meet a lot of good people, and we've got a really special place here.
Took a leap of faith?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You only live one time.
Enjoy it.
So you never know when you're going to do this. I couldn't do this when I was 60. I'm 48. I'll be 49 next month. So hopefully I still got plenty of time, but I wanted to do something that I want to do for in my life and not for someone else or whatever. I want to do something different.
Well, it's a beautiful shop. I mean, it's just walking in from the glass doors and walking in, the layout is just gorgeous. Before we get into the whole setup, when did the I'll call it MGS, if that's okay, Midwood Guitar Studio. When did you guys open the doors?
We opened November 19th, 2016, so about 9 months ago. So we're coming up on 1 year.
So when you plan to open it,
mm-hmm.
What made you pick this location in Midwood Plaza or Plaza Midwood? Excuse me.
When my concept, I thought about this for years, but never really got serious because I always had an excuse because it's the wrong location. The building's not cool enough, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I heard about this building coming available, and my wife and I came out here one Sunday and looked at the place, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was. And we used to shop in here at Clark Antiques 20 years ago. We bought some furniture in here. I think my wife bought this armoire that weighed like 500 pounds, and we bought it from here. So we knew the place.
So you have a history.
We have a little bit of a history. And when we walked in here, and I just saw the space, and it was all open, but it was like, the 12-foot ceilings and the 1944 masonry walls, and it just had a ton of character. And I just kind of fell in love with it, and I was like, we're going to do it. And I just moved forward and got with my agent and said, let's make it happen. And like the next week, we closed on the building. Got a great relationship with the owner.
Okay.
His wife, Mr. John Triantis, his wife, Patricia, her father built this in the 40s. So it's been in her family since she was a kid. And we're the fourth tenant since 44. I know it's crazy. The Clark Antiques was here 40 years. So, and John and I got a great relationship. John's 88 years old, and John came by here 2 or 3 days a week during the renovation and hung out. When we bring food, he was in the Greek restaurant business, and so he's a great cook. And he'd bring lasagna and all this. He'd bring food out
in
here
the Greek restaurant, and he'd bring for lasagna.
He'd bring whatever his pastries. I can't even pronounce half of it, but he would come out here, and they were just they're very proud of the building too.
Right.
And we have a path forward too that one day, I think. Sometime in the next couple of years, we'll own the building as well, which would be a plus.
That's wonderful.
I want to keep it here too. The neighborhood's really important because we're 5 minutes from downtown Charlotte. We could see downtown Charlotte, and then in 30 minutes we can get to 1.5 million, 2 million people metro to our shop. So geographically, it was like in a perfect place.
But if you haven't been to Plaza Midwood, it's an upcoming area. There's townhomes, or are those apartments?
Those are apartments, high-end apartments.
Yeah, they're going up, and some of the new shops have opened up, and they're really renovating the street area. A lot of walking spots.
Yeah. And the next, we held a merchant meeting here about 2 months ago, and the president of the Merchant Association said there would be 4,000 new residents in Plaza Midwood in the next 12 months, with all the condos going in. So parking stuff now, it's going to be tough forever, but with that being said, it's a special place, and I think it's going to get better,
I'm sure
as more time. And hopefully, I think we did a good job of maintaining the character of this building. So hopefully, everybody else here will restore and keep these buildings because they're beautiful. And it still can have new construction, but this is it's like back in the 40s, this was a separate town, really. And wasn't really part of Charlotte. Yeah. Well, it wasn't, but I mean, it was like a mill town. This is the mill village between here and North Davidson.
Okay.
Everybody that lived in these neighborhoods were probably associated with some of the mills as far as employment goes.
I didn't know that.
So that's why it kind of looks like a little town. If you look at it, there's like 2 or 3 blocks of buildings.
That's wonderful.
And so that's why North Davidson's very similar. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
So when you were doing the renovation at the store here, again, I was saying, even when you come through the front doors, it's so beautiful. Did you design it? Did you have a designer come in? Did you tell somebody what you wanted to do? How did that work out?
Well, I used my experience, my 30 years of, most of what we did was process like piping, installation work. We would set equipment, run stainless pipe and copper piping. So I always grew up around metal. I love metal. And I always did side projects. And my sister, Susan Centel, she's the architectural designer in Atlanta, and she helped me some. But a lot of this, it was just the guitar racks came from Cabo Fish Taco. That's if you ever go in there, that's the wine rack.
Wow.
Which was my first thing over budget that I did, but still, it's very cool. But I was in there probably 5-6 years ago, and I saw the rack, the wine glasses. I said, man, that'd be a cool guitar rack. And I wasn't even thinking about the store. And I took a picture of it, and we got the shop. I went back, and I was like, we're going to use this to hang our guitars. And I had a friend of ours, Dalton Schiller, as a junior at the UNC School of Art, and Dalton built all this material for all the copper pipe racks, all the consoles. He built them last summer.
Wow.
That was his summer project. And then he lived in Jacksonville, Florida, so he had a pod in his driveway for like 3 months. And he came last August and dropped them off. And then he came back in October and helped put them together. So that's kind of like anchor of the shop. And And I didn't want it to look like, I'm just kind of trying to do our own thing.
Right.
So I'm not copying, you get ideas from people, but this is our own concept, our own shop. It's pretty unique.
Right.
And it's a destination place too. So it's not, I think it's something special. So I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, as a destination, we'll get more into that in a few minutes, but I want to talk to you about what was your vision for the store when you originally started? What were you thinking about? I mean, you've been 9 months or so, and I remember coming in several months ago, and there were just some electric guitars, not some, but there was a selection of electric guitars and amplifiers, and then talking to Dan, the store manager, and yourself, things have really started expanding. So when you started, did you have a vision that you wanted to do all the things that you're kind of getting into now, which we'll talk about a little bit, or did you just want to do guitars?
No, I think what it was probably just I wouldn't call it a limitation, but we had all the big renovation expense we had on the front end, and then everything in here you have to pay for, so you don't get like extended terms. You got to pay cash for everything. So that was part of it. Just the equity thing was I didn't want to just cram it full of inventory. And then over time, we hired some other employees too. Now we have 2 full-time salary employees. Dan Hood's our manager, and then Matt Anthony, he's our account manager. Okay. And then we have 3 part-time guys. And part of it was just trying to grow the business too, is that we always wanted to do acoustic guitars, but starting out, that wasn't really a priority for me. And plus, I didn't really have an anchor brand. Since we opened, we did team up with Collins, which we're now our Collins dealer, which is a big deal for us. That's our most expensive acoustic guitar that we sell. Since then, we've had Eastman Guitars in here. We're going to have Huss and Dalton out of Stanton, Virginia. We'll be here this fall. And then first quarter next year, we'll have Santa Cruz and Boucher out of Canada. Oh, awesome. And that'll kind of cap off the acoustics. We're going to keep it at maybe 4 or 5 brands. Yeah,
there's a separate room, which we're recording the podcast in right now, which is just for the acoustics.
Right now, but one day in the future, it might change some. But for the next year, it'll probably be an expansion of what you see right now. Probably more guitars in here until we get an opportunity to grow some, and then I've got some other ideas down the road.
Okay, so you're dealing with boutique instruments. What's special about the instruments that are here?
My big attraction for doing this is I didn't want to carry what the big stores have. So the attraction to me, or maybe some other buyers, is I can go there and get a guitar that's unique and different. It's still made of high quality, but no one else in town has it. And that's kind of the concept behind it. Before, with the boutique guitars and amps, you'd have to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on the internet, and you couldn't go play it. Not unless you want to drive to Atlanta, drive to DC or Nashville, wherever, and buy it and ship it back or whatever. And so that's what we have here now, is that we don't have everything, but we have a lot of the good brands that are in the boutique business, and you can actually physically come here, check them out, and come here every 3-4 weeks. We always get something new. So it's something fun to do if you're really into gear.
So you're saying boutique instruments. Can you explain to the listeners what a boutique instrument is?
Well, they vary. Some of them are smaller yield builders. There might be one guy that works in his garage out back that builds 20 guitars a year. We have some of those guys. We have our best-selling brand is called Veritas Guitars out of Vancouver, Washington State. And there's like 4 or 5 employees there, and they build about 300 or 400 guitars a year. And we'll sell close to 100 this year. So that's our biggest builder. It's the smallest builder, but it's our best-selling brand. And we got a great relationship with them.
How do you choose the luthiers which you bring into the shop? Because I'm sure, even though you've only been open 9 months, word must get out in the guitar builders community, and they're like, "Hey, check my stuff out."
That's kind of what happened. I mean, when we first started out, I didn't really know anybody, and they're like, "What's this construction guy doing open a guitar shop?" So it's like, he's crazy, because it's like Casey at Veritas. He called me. He's kind of got a funny personality, and he talked to me one time, and then he said, "I need to talk to you some more." And he would kind of give me not being smart, but he'd kind of give me a hard time about what I'm doing. And then after our third conversation, he's like, "How many guitars you want?" I was like, 12. He goes, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take 12. He goes, "Okay." And it's funny, we have a great relationship now, but it was kind of like he was testing me, I guess, how serious I was. But some of them, we met a couple of the other builders we had one builder that introduced us to 2 or 3 other guys, and that's kind of we met 3 or 4 people from one meeting, basically. So that's how some of the initial store inventory kicked off. And since then, we're trying to figure out what the market's interested in. So we're having some brand change. We're not trying to change what we're doing, but we're trying to get more popular products in here.
Okay. Well, I was talking to Craig in the previous episode, and Craig builds some guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And Craig had mentioned, let's say, it was a 6 to 10 week time build for an instrument.
Yeah, it's probably longer than that.
So if you're dealing with boutique instruments and you have a luthier who's going to build for you,
Mm-hmm.
how does that work out? Are you waiting a set period of time and then they're sending you 2 or 3 instruments, or they send you 1 instrument at a time?
Basically, well, what we'd like to do is order anywhere from like 4 to 10 of them at a time when we order.
Okay.
And some require deposits, some don't. But most of the build time is probably more like 3 to 4 months for most of the builders.
So they send you all of them at once?
Yeah, they for the most part, if they're ready, they might send them early. But a lot of times they come within a week or 2 because they're working on they do them in batches.
Okay.
So they might make 5 or 10 guitars at one time, and maybe 5 are Midwoods and 5 are someone else's, and they got to get them done at the same time just to be productive. And so, yeah, that's the cycle. And it's like you always have to have stuff on order, because if you can't you don't want to just keep having stuff come in here. But if something's hot, you got to continually buy it. So
yes,
there's 2 or 3 brands that we're buying stuff every month. We might not have it here, but we're making deposits. We're making plans because before you know it's going to be Christmas, and hopefully it'd be
busier.
No, it's good. Business is good, but if you don't have it, you can't sell it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a constant thing. We're the pedal thing. You just came in here earlier, and we sold.
Right.
We've had some reverb pedals for 2 months and haven't sold them in the past 24 hours. We've sold all but 1. So which is good. And so now we'll order some more of those. And the amps, we were taking some of our, like Benson amplifiers is one of our best selling amps. So we were ordering 4 a month for the last 8 months. This is the first month we haven't ordered 4 because we had 8. We didn't sell any last month. So we kind of put that off.
What are you carrying in the store as far as instruments? You've got guitars, which are acoustics.
You have acoustic guitars. We started carrying the Eastman mandolins.
Okay.
Or mandolins in general. We have electric guitars, electric bass, and we have guitar amplifiers, bass amplifiers, a large pedal selection. We got strings and accessories, normal stuff like that. We actually met a Kala ukulele at in Nashville, because there were a lot of, especially in this neighborhood, because there's a lot of people that want to play music that's the first instrument they get because they're affordable. They're $50 to $100. And surprisingly, I think we sold half of them already.
It's a popular instrument.
It is popular. We had a guy that came in. I wasn't here the other day, but somebody came in right at 6:00 and bought 2 of them. I think he bought one for him and his wife, and they just walked by and say, "Ukulele, yeah, right here." So,
well, with all those people moving here, you're getting more foot traffic.
And surprisingly, they have a thing called the U-Bass.
Yes,
I don't know if you saw that.
I have seen them. Yeah,
they're badass. they're like I do my own recording. They sound like an upright, especially recorded. That track you heard Dan playing, he was playing that bass on that track. Yeah.
I heard the guitar track. I didn't hear
there's bass in there. But I've got a couple tracks I'm using. That's all I'm going to use. It just sounds so good.
That's neat.
And it's like, what are you playing? It's like, Kala U-Bass. So yeah, if you ever want to do a cool recording, Kala U-Bass is pretty sweet.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I laughed when I first got it. I got hooked on playing it. I was like, this is really, really neat.
Well, I'm giving up my precision and my jazz.
I don't know
bass.
about
that.
I wouldn't do that, but for recording, you laugh. It's like, because everybody wants to get that sound, and sometimes you can't get it with usually you get a P bass, you can stuff a rag in the bridge, or you can mess with it. But this is right out of the box is special. So
man,
it's my secret. I let my secret out.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so you have a boutique guitar shop. The instruments obviously are not inexpensive. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming in and buying a Fender Squier or a handmade instrument, for $100 here. I kind of knowing that right off the bat. So, who is your customer range? Who are your customers that you found so far?
Yeah, I think your statement was correct probably when we first opened, but since then We're not trying to compete on the very bottom end, but we have now some Angelico acoustic guitars that are in here at $499, which is a great guitar. They're made overseas, but fantastic instrument. So I would call that a beginner, or it's even good enough to gig with for $500. They're great guitars. So we have those in here now. And the Eastman product's affordable. So it's around $1,000. So we don't have,
those are pretty surprising.
Yeah, we don't have the $299 starter guitar, but if they come in here for beginner acoustic, you can't. And the Andrew White guitars are great out of West Virginia. They're about $400 or $500. So we do, before we didn't have anything under $2,000.
Right.
So now we do have, probably 20 or 30 instruments that are, below $700, $800, which we didn't have that before. Which it doesn't like, we're not trying to be stuffy or saying you got to spend $2,000 or $3,000. We're trying to, we can't do everything, but we're trying to provide a variety of instruments, for the market in general. But most of our customers are, and I think I told you before, about 60, 70% of business is online.
Wow.
And that's continuing to grow. And that's the key. Ultimately, it takes a lot of different, I think the local traffic and the local support is, long-term is going to be really the key to our success. And we've been doing better with the local business. It's not very consistent, though. 1 month it'd be real big. The next month it drops off for whatever reason. And there's still a lot of people that don't know we're here, surprisingly. And we're trying to do a better job of marketing. But meanwhile, we do a lot of sales on Reverb. Reverb's been 90% of our online business. And we're shipping. California is probably our biggest customer. We ship stuff every week to California, which is great, but it's like $100. Which is okay.
You got pass that price on.
We actually, but in the market it's tough. So in a lot of cases you do free shipping, regardless where you are. And I think you mentioned too, the other thing, a lot of our builders, they don't want just the e-commerce site. So a lot of the builders that we represent, you have to have a brick and mortar store. You have to, maybe it doesn't have to be exactly what we're doing, but you can't just be someone stuffing guitars in a garage and shipping them out. You have to have a storefront. So that's probably half our brands that we're working with require that, which is where we want to be. So we're competing with the same type of people.
That's interesting. How did you get into you say 60% of sales or so like that are internet sales? The internet these days is the great equalizer. But what made you get into the internet sales as heavily rather than trying to develop, the foot traffic, which people would think brick and mortar store would
but my
do?
thing, when I first thought it, I'm not going to retire from creating this business, but to create, almost instant revenue, the internet's key for this type of business, especially for the guitars we carry, because it's a national product. It's not just people here. It's a national, the stuff we have, people want all over the country or the world for that matter. And that creates that demand. And to get the sales numbers that we really are shooting for, we have to have a combination of in-store sales, reverb sales, and we also, I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, is we just kicked off a brand new website this past weekend. We've got a new store software that integrates store sales, internet sales, and reverb all in one software, which is really nice. In the past, Dan and I've spent 2 or 3 days doing manual accounting and Excel spreadsheets to figure out cost of sales, and this system actually does all that for us.
Did you anticipate the internet sales being the majority of your selling?
Yeah, I did. I didn't have the exact formula, but I figured that they would be larger than the store sales just because of people don't know we're here, and then educating the market on what we sell, because a lot of people don't know the brands we have. There's a certain, like a guy like you or not, you might be fully aware of it, but the average person that comes in here, a lot of times they're like, well, I don't see anything I recognize. And so a lot of it falls on us, to be educational process of what's different and, what's better, maybe what's not better, and price points. So we have to do a better job, or we're doing a good job. We have to educate our customers when they come in here.
What's been your reaction from the Charlotte music community opening the store?
I think it's been really good. We have some local artists that come in here, they buy smaller stuff from us, but straps, strings, picks, whatever. If they got a gig, we've had people run over here from Peculiar Rabbit and Visualite, and I think about a month or two ago, I think Elvis Costello was playing here in town, and he sent a runner over here to get a couple packs of strings. We didn't see Elvis, but that was pretty cool. But he
Elvis
sent a runner over
in the building.
No, I gave him a T-shirt though.
Oh, that's great.
I was like, "What size T-shirt?" And he said, "Large." That's okay. So I gave him a T-shirt. So I think the reception's been good.
Right.
And I think I've got a few relationships with local artists, and it's open to everybody. You don't have to come in here. It's a neat place just to come hang out and talk music or just to talk.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, you don't have to feel that way. We're not trying to be intimidating from what we're doing. So we want to make sure we want to have a comfortable place.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, even the first time I came in, everybody was very warm, welcoming. It wasn't like, oh, snooty, we're a boutique guitar shop.
Yeah.
You know, unless you know your stuff, you can't come in here kind of thing. It was like, hey, man, how are you doing? What can I show you? Oh, do you like that? Let me explain this to you. This is how this works.
That's how it is, and that's how we want to continue. Our customers, we got to take care of every one of them, whether they spend anything or not. It's their first time experience, and a lot of people don't buy something when they first go in. They want to, play it and read about it and get educated about it, and they come back, but they need to have a positive experience. So that's our number one job is to take care and treat people, with respect and be upfront and honest with them, and try to help them out.
It's nice. The store is small enough where it's kind of a homey feeling. Where I've been to some stores,
right,
and you kind of get ignored. They'll or you're either getting ignored, or at times they are fawning all over you to make a sale, and sometimes just like, I just wanted to, take a look, check some things out, get some information. So
no, that happens. I mean, years ago, I've been in places and I just left. I was ready to spend some money. I was like, whatever.
I don't need to spend the money today, right?
Yeah, whatever. So yeah.
You just saved me $25 or $600 depending on what you were looking at.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where it could happen here. I hope it doesn't, but I mean, you just need to, when people walk in here, we need to not harass them, but we need to say hello, and if we can help you, let us know, and let them look around. And if they want to play a guitar or bass, we need to make sure we're attentive and take care of them. And if they're looking for a particular sound, we might have 2 or 3 different options, and we'll provide those. And we had a guy that was in here 2 weekends ago, and his friend bought a Benson amp, and he loved it, and he came in here a couple times. I think he came in 2 weeks ago with his wife and was talking about it. He's like, birthday's coming up. I want to get an amp. And he came in here last Saturday. Maybe Friday he came in here with his wife. And I said, is his birthday? She goes, it was yesterday. I said, okay. But he goes, I'm buying an amp today. I was like, okay. And he came in here, and he said, I got to play that Benson. I said, okay. So he got the Benson, and I think Oldfield and Third Power. He played 3 or 4 different amps, and he was in the studio. Him and his wife were in here for an hour and a half, which was fine. No rush. They just sat here and played. And he came back, and he goes, man, I want the Benson, but I want a different color. What you got? And I was like, we got like 6 of them. We have all kind of different colors.
There you go.
And then he picked a different color and played it. He goes, man, it doesn't sound the same. I was like, okay. He goes, I want the one I play. I was like, okay, no problem. So he got it, and he was happy, and he was tickled, and so it was cool to see people happy. Yeah, when they buy something special like that, because it's expensive. I mean, it's $200-$400.
You want to be happy.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Even when I spend $20 on something, I want to be satisfied with it.
No, I'm with you.
I'm just that picky of a player and a musician.
It's a good feeling too when you have gear like that. People are interested and they're happy. Is not saying everything you pick is right, because it's not. But, But I think
as long as it's right for you.
Yeah, I mean everybody's got a different opinion. I mean, that's the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody, what you think is awesome, I might not like, or maybe I think it's even better, right?
I have a friend who's got a lot of pointy guitars, and
oh, really? Yeah.
He, sometimes we just don't have the same taste in instruments, but he loves what he loves, and they're nice guitars.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned Oldfield. Oldfield's a North Carolina maker.
Yeah, it's Paul Gessler. He's here in Charlotte.
How many makers, luthiers, amp builders are from North Carolina that you carry? Do you know offhand?
Port City is out of Asheville. At Swannanoa, I think now, or Black Mountain. So that's a North Carolina company. Sword Amplifier Company's out of Wilmington. So those are the 3 North Carolina amp brands that we have.
Sword,
Oldfield,
Port City.
Yep.
Okay. That's fair. And any luthier?
We have Roscoe Bass out of Greensboro, North Carolina, great bass builder. We've done pretty well with them. And then we have a guy named Jack Briggs out of Raleigh who builds he might be one of our most talented builders we have. He doesn't build, Jack probably builds 20 a year, but they're beautiful, high quality instruments. He's the only North Carolina luthier that we have.
Okay. And does he build electrics, or is it
they're
acoustics?
They're electric. Okay. Yeah. He just introduced his first semi-hollow body, which is kind of like a 335 style. We don't have any. They're pretty pricey, but really pretty guitar. He was here probably 5 or 6 months ago and dropped off a guitar, and he hung out with us, and he brought that for a demo and showed us. It was still in the concept stage, but great. He's well respected in the industry, and great guy. So I went to his shop about a year and a half ago when I first started. I got introduced to Jack, and I drove up, and he works in he's got a double garage behind his house, and his workshop's back there, and I went back there and spent 2 or 3 hours with him. It was pretty neat.
Just looking at the way
just talking. We just talking. He showed me how to build stuff, and then I think I picked out maybe 3 or 4 guitars that day that he had bodies that he had started. They weren't finished, but they were cut out and routed, but haven't been painted or stained. And so that was a fun experience doing that.
So I'm not gonna say anything bad, but I know I have a friend back in Cleveland, and he deals with a lot of luthiers, and he's always found them to be a little kooky.
I
don't want to put you on the spot.
You're not. Jack's a great guy.
Or quirky.
Politically, we would not be on the same page.
Right.
But I've never talked politics with him, or actually I try not to talk with anybody. But other than that, I think he's awesome. I mean,
I think it takes a certain type of person to do certain things. And I think when you are a craftsman, it takes a certain mentality, a certain work ethic, and a certain mindset to do that. And some of the luthiers I've met have definitely been, I think, quirky is the better word.
Yeah. I mean, the unique thing with Jack too is he's still pretty much old school, or I think he might have a pen route or something, but he's doing the neck carve and shape, and it's all by hand. So I'm not saying it. At the end of the day, it might not be any different than the machine guitar, but he's putting his heart and soul in an instrument that he sells for $2,700, which is a lot of money. But the reality is, he's probably got 100 hours in that guitar. I mean,
yeah, but it's
time you build it,
handmade. I mean, that's at least the thing. It's handmade.
Yeah,
this guy spent 20 hours carving the neck,
and he's got a good following. We had a customer from Florida that has like 10 of them.
Wow.
And this was been a few months ago, 3 or 4, might have been April, tax time.
Right.
I got money, and this guy called and talked to Sage, and Sage talked to him, and then he wanted one of Jack's guitars that we had.
Right.
And then he said, hey, what about this other guitar? If I buy 2, can get a little bit more discount? And we're like, yeah. So we helped him. So he spent like $6,500 on 2 guitars, and he was happy. And I think they went to Fort Lauderdale, I think. And he has like a dozen of Jack's guitars, and he loves his work. So I was like, okay. So there's people like that, throughout the country. You're not going to sell one every day like that, but it's pretty neat when you sell something and the people collect them.
Right.
Because he's, highly regarded. But fine instrument, so you check them out sometime if you get time.
I'll come out front and when we're done. Hey, I want to change gears a little bit on you. So you have the guitar shop, but there's a lot of other things going on here. I've seen concerts getting advertised. What are you expanding into? What else is happening here?
Oh, we're not going to be a nightclub or anything, but we have we're so proud of our space and think, and not just this, the recording room sounds great, but I don't know what it is. You probably didn't notice, but the building's actually about 15 degrees skewed off of Central. All these buildings are in an odd angle, which is great for live sound or recording.
Okay.
So indirectly, that room has an irregular shape due to however they laid the property out 60, 70 years ago. But the room sounds incredible. So it started out, Dan had a friend, Kevin Marshall, another local artist and luthier, that wanted to start a singer-songwriter night about 6 months ago.
Okay.
It's called Songs on Central. So we've had 2 of those, and they've both sold out. We've got about 55 seat capacity, which is not a lot, but for acoustic music is pretty good.
Sure.
So both of those shows sold out. We have the next one coming up. I think it's October 5th, in about a month.
Okay.
There'll be all female artists. It lasts about 2 hours, and it's original material, so there's no covers.
How many different artists?
There'll be 4 females this time. Usually there's 4 artists normally.
Okay, so they all come in and play what?
They're
half-hour set?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like the Bluebird. They sit down and play one song, or they might talk about a subject before they start, and they play, and then it goes to you, and you play, and they do one song at a time, and they go around 3 or 4 times. That's about
tickets for that.
Yeah, it's really it sounds incredible. It's a neat thing, and the neat thing about it too is it's an intimate setting.
Right.
It's just very vibey at nighttime. It sounds great, and the people that come here appreciate music. They might not play music, but they're here to listen to the artist.
Right.
And that's not normal. If you go to a normal place that's like a bar, whatever, it's loud and you can't hear, and here it's like quiet as a pin. Nobody's on the phone. You don't hear phones ring. It's about the artist, which I think is really special.
So since it's such an intimate setting, do you guys even bother amplifying at all?
We go through the PA. We have a house PA out there, so
Okay.
the guitars run through the mixer or mic there, whatever. Most of the time we just run direct DIs into the mixer, and it's not turned up very loud, but it still sounds great. Especially that many people, you need it amplified some. But when you come, the room sounds phenomenal. So that's our standing series that we have, and then there's been some regional bands. I have a friend of mine, Eric Glendale, who's a national blues artist. He came through here in March and sold out. He actually sold 60 tickets at $35. He hasn't played here in like 2 years. He used to play Double Door all the time and the Visualite and some other places. And he goes, I'm kind of tired of playing those big places. I'm going to play your shop. I was like, that's fine and all, but I don't know how much money we can get. And he goes, I'll get 35 a ticket. I said, well, you can have 100% of it. And we don't take any of it. It goes straight to the artist.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So he sets up Eventbrite, whoever the artist is, and they get all the deposits for the tickets. And then once the show's over, they transfer the money. So they don't get any of the money until they play. But anyways, Eric sold out in March. And then we had, this past Friday, we had Soul Driven Train out of Charleston. They're friends of mine. We used to do house parties, and that's how I met them back 8 years ago. Great band, and they were here Friday, and they sold out, and we had a great time. So it's kind of like random stuff, but this past month, I think we have an event like every weekend in September. We have Stu G is a session guitar player in Nashville. He's going to be here tomorrow night for a guitar clinic.
Do you have all these events listed on the website?
They're on Facebook and Instagram. Yep. It should be on our website as well.
Okay, what's the website for?
It's MidwoodGuitarStudio.com.
There you go.
It's pretty simple. It's long. That's the only. I wish it was MGS because it's like you type it out. It's long, but yeah, we have some other artists coming in October too. But normally it's once a month, twice a month.
Okay,
but we're kind of busy this fall. It's just kind of worked out. My friend Eric's coming back again in October, so you should check that out. He's a great R&B blues player. He'll be here in late October. So
what are the plans for the future? We got the concert series going on. We got. You're bringing in acoustic guitars. You're catering to, trying to cater to a larger audience, not just the high end instruments, but folks in the middle too. What else next? What's going on?
Well, I mentioned to it earlier. We got a few more brands coming in first quarter next year that we're going to be bringing in here that we're excited about.
Anything you want to drop? Any names?
I can't. Some of them I can't, just for not because of locally. But there's some other politics going on, but it's all good. I think it's a lot of product that a lot of our customers been asking about. So
okay,
we're not going to be the box store, but we're going to have some other. It's still boutique, but bigger. Some of the bigger names. Just from us, the only reason we're really looking at that is that we want to find another builder that we can sell another 50, 100 guitars.
Right, and
it's hard to do that with the smaller guys. So we're looking for a couple, 1 or 2 larger builders to get in here. So we've had some good discussions with them and feel good about getting them in here first quarter next year. So we're excited about that. And
that's
awesome. Just try to get better at what we're doing. We want to get I think I mentioned that we do well on reverb.
Right.
Our store sales are good. We need to work on local marketing, and that's something we can control. The internet, you're lucky if you sell something,
right? Unless
it's targeted. So now we've got a new website, new point of sale. We've done search optimization. We hired a company to do that, which basically they've been around before Google was created. It's a search company, so there's certain search word criteria. It was kind of painful to go through because it doesn't really make sense, but it's all the analytics that go into the search engines. So we hired a specialty company to do that. So hopefully in the next 60 to 90 days, if you type in Midwood Guitar Studio plus a brand, you'll see us pop up on the front page. That's kind of our goal.
Awesome.
So we think that's going to help, our web presence. And our website, it's going to be pretty obvious. We haven't really sold much on it. So this past week, we've already had 3 or 4 sales on it since we launched it. So we're optimistic that, in the near future, our website's going to start contributing. Things are good, but to grow the business, the website's the missing link. So increase the store sales, stabilize Reverb, and then add the third dimension, which would be the website. Direct sale would be great. And then, just keep taking care of our local customers. And it's everybody. It's a national. It could be a guy in California.
Right.
He buys something, and we're like, "Thank you for the purchase." And we're like, "What size T-shirt you wear?" And they go, "Really?" Yeah. So we, not every time, but a lot of times we, give our T-shirts away or strap. Or there's a guy the other day that bought a $4,500 guitar, and he wanted a guitar strap, and then he wanted something else, and so we're not charging for that.
Right.
So doing a $50-$75 strap on a T-shirt. Said thank you, and then he got the guitar. He messaged me, and I was like, "Oh," he goes, "I love the guitar."
And you say that as if the thing is, though, you say like it's not a big deal, but it kind of is, because I remember when I was a kid, I worked my butt off and I bought a Strat. Okay. And I remember going to the guitar shop and I bought the Strat, Fender Strat. And the guy went, just in case you were thinking it was something else. And the guys actually gave you a strap. They throw in some picks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you need some strings? Here you go, kid. There you go. You're all set. You're good. Now, those picks are $6 for a pack of 12.
We get the warranty sale.
Yeah. They don't throw anything in. And I don't blame just the guitar companies or the stores. It's just everything.
Yeah.
If you want it, everything is an add-on. And just the little bit of customer service saying, "Hey, you bought this guitar. Take a shirt. Here's this. Here's a strap." I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, we had another example. We had another customer that's bought a guitar from us before, great player, local guy, came in to check some amps out, and he wasn't sure. Meanwhile, we were having an issue with our point-of-sale system. And I said, "Just take it. Take the amp home, play it this weekend.
Right.
And if you like it, you can come back and pay for it, or we can send you PayPal." And he goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was like, and then one other time I had a kid that wanted a church player, like 19-year-old kid, wanted this amplifier. He goes, "Man, I really want it, but I don't have the money." I was like, "Well, when can you pay for it?" And he goes, "I can pay for it in like a month." I said, "Okay, take it." And he said, "What do you mean?" I can't do this every time.
Just so you know,
I don't have
we're not doing this regularly.
No, I just thought, but I did it because I was just, they look at me and said, "What'd you do it for?" I said, "Because he's going to buy some other stuff from us." So I can't do it to everybody, but
right.
Some of the other guys knew him and knew he was a good kid and whatever. So
you got a customer for life now.
Yeah, it was a good experience. And then we had another customer that got a guitar that we shipped direct from the factory, and there were some issues with it, according to him, and he wasn't happy. And my first reaction is, how could I get him happy?
Right.
So he's not bashing me or the builder. And so I had another guitar very similar to the one that he purchased, and I said, "Hey, man, this is what we do. I'll send you the guitar I have in stock. You play it long as you want. We'll get your guitar redone and rebuilt." And he said, "That's acceptable." And so 2 days later, he had the other guitar, shipped the other guitar back, and then the builder, since he wasn't happy with it, the builder let him basically custom build a guitar, so he got a better guitar for the same money.
Wow.
And he'll get it next week, and hopefully he's happy this time. But we did the right thing. It's like, this rarely happens. I mean, I think this is really the first time we ever had an issue like that. And we didn't physically see the guitar because it shipped direct.
Okay.
Because normally we go through them and have Craig look at them, but
Right.
This thing was so hot that we shipped them direct. And anyways, it's got a good outcome. But we could have handled it if we were jerks about it. It might not have been, would have been blasted all over the place. But the only thing we have is our reputation and how we
the internet today
and how we conduct business.
Yeah.
So all I can do is be as fair as I can, and not just me, but I try to. Everybody's got the same. I think we're on the same page as far as the culture and values of doing business, and
that's
being friends is really what it is. It's not that difficult. It's just you just have to make an effort, and
it's not that hard to be nice.
just be yourself, and be cordial, and put your phone down, and
Yeah, I mean, this in today's market, you've got the internet, and somebody gives you a bad review, And it just blasts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not just like around town.
No, it's national. We had a guy that we had a bad Yelp review. Some guy walked in here and said they don't have anything like the box store. I'm like, that's not the guy we want in here. No offense to him, but it's exactly opposite. I'm not saying our plan's better, but that's not what we do.
Right.
You know, if you want to look at 500 guitars and that's whatever, that's where you need to go. They do things well over there. And there's a lot of stuff we don't do. They do. But like I said, we want to do our own thing here. And we're open. We listen to people. And there's builders we've met from our customers, you know, inquiring about them. So
right.
Always looking to figure out how to improve our experience here. So that's our challenge.
Got to learn as you go too. Every time something pops up, it's something new, and how are we going to deal with it?
It doesn't last. It doesn't last forever either. Because you have to be ready. You have to always have your thought was like you always got to be thinking 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road because time goes by very fast. You know, especially now we're getting older, it goes by real fast.
That's the truth.
And it takes 3 to 6 months to get inventory. So if you got something hot and you don't keep up with it, then if you don't have inventory for 3, 4 months, you just lost out on a bunch of sales.
Right.
So,
and if that problem repeats itself in the future, you know how to deal with it. Last time we did this, hey, this is how we satisfy the customer and keep everybody happy. And this is the channels we need to go through. Hey, before we cut down or cut out, you've got the main section of the store, which is in the front, of course, but we're actually recording the podcast, as we talked about earlier, in the back in what I'll call the acoustic room. And you've got recording equipment. What goes on in this little room?
This is our recording / acoustic room, because I always had a passion for recording, and about half of that gear was at my house. I had a home studio.
Okay.
Small. And then, of course, I wanted a console, but I don't have room for a console or the budget for a console. So I basically had the builder build a barnwood that looks like a console that houses all our 500 gear.
Oh,
so
great.
We've got a couple Apollo units. We're actually going to start, for anyone locally that's interested in recording, we're going to start selling the Universal Audio interface, the Apollo Quad, the Apollo. I think there's a small one that's got 2 inputs in it. That's great. They start at like $800 to $1,299. Everything you need to record at home.
Right.
Same stuff we have there, except they're not rack mounted. They're just small. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be carrying probably some more microphones and stuff.
Okay.
Just to try to have some gear for people like you and I that want to buy nice recording stuff.
Right.
We're going to have some of that here in the future too. But Dan and our staff, we do all our product demos are done in this room. We have a Pro Tool 10 station here. So, and then Dan's got a video. I'm not a video guy, but he's got a video editing software that he syncs up the audio and video. He does a really good job of that.
Dan was just giving me a little run through earlier of some new stuff he has.
Yeah, Dan's done a great job. It's gone by pretty fast, but he's a key part of our business and a great anchor for the Charlotte market, because Dan's well known here in town for music and being a guitar player and a recording guy. So lucky to have him here.
Speaking of the demos, where are the demos? Are they on the Facebook page? Are they on the website? Where
They'll
the
be. Most of them are on. We have a YouTube channel. It's Midwood Guitar Studio. Most of them are on YouTube, and also when they're posted, I think they're posted on Facebook first, then they go to YouTube. There's some way that gets more views, but and the Instagram would just be like a minute clip, but the bigger videos will be on Facebook and YouTube. So we're trying to get now where we can do 3 or 4 videos a week. We won't release them all, but it's just hard sometimes. Like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays are probably good for recording because it's usually a little slower from in-store traffic. And then, Friday, Saturday, it's a lot of people in here, so it's kind of hard to do it during the week.
Had a good response to the promo videos for?
Yeah, we've actually, of course, I think we could do better, but we've sold some instruments from it. We had a customer that bought a OM2H Collins, so like $5,600 guitar. He bought it because he saw our video that Dan did like 2 months ago. He said, "Hey, you still got the guitar?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Does it sound as good as the video?" We're like, "Yeah." I sent it to him and he loved it. And so he found it on YouTube. So it's happened a couple times, and we're trying to expand that exposure. It's big. I mean, the social media is probably our best friend.
Right.
And a lot of it's free. The Instagram, Facebook is not hard to do. Sometimes the sponsored ads we pay for, but a lot of it just keeping, you don't want to blast them away every day, but 2 or 3 times a week, if you got something pertinent that we need to post it. So all these
saturation.
No, all these guys do a good job with that. And then, like I said, we're trying to get the videos stacked up, or every other week we can release something, or maybe every week. Right. So we don't get too much, but and we don't really have an excuse. We have a great room and great gear.
Yeah,
so
it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And it sounds good too, but it's all here, and it's what I offer this to everybody working here can come in here anytime they want to. I think Sage asked me if him and his buddy can come in here one day and record. I'm like, yeah, no problem. And occasionally I have a couple local artists that I work with that come in here. I've got some original stuff that I've written, and they come in here and write lyrics and sing. So it's fun.
Well, that's awesome.
It doesn't happen that often, but we'll take 2 or 3 hours out of a day and do it. So,
I mean, if that's another aspect of the business to move into, too.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those, we can't really do it at the current setup because it's not isolated, know. Because that's why it's really artists. We're not really set up for that. We don't really want to compete with local studios for that standpoint.
Just for fun.
But we do quality stuff in here. You could do it. I mean, you could definitely do it.
Oh, it's nice stuff. I'll test it.
No, not just that, but I mean, it's no different than, it's less quantity than studio, but the result is similar. We could do it here, but it's just not what we do,
Right.
If we need to do a favor for someone, sure, we can make it happen or do a record or something, but that's not really part of our business plan. And if we sold studio hours, we'd have to have somebody here. So the end result is we wouldn't make any money off of it because somebody have to babysit. So it's like, it's a freebie thing for friends and family, I guess. Oh, so it's all good. But it's a benefit for the store to have this room where we have actually tomorrow night, I mentioned Stu G will be here from Nashville for a guitar clinic, but we're also introducing Third Power amplifiers. Has the Majestic 40, which is a Stu G signature amp.
Okay.
That'll be here. And then also Third Power just came out with a new pedal called the Roosevelt. It's a drive pedal. And we're one of the few dealers that have that. And Jamie Scott, the owner of Third Power, will be here actually late tonight in our shop tomorrow. So if anybody wants to come meet Jamie and Third Power and Stu G, come check us out tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at Midwood Guitar Studio.
Well, the only bad part about that, we're mentioning it, but this podcast won't be up for another week. I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's all
but if
right.
there's anything you want to tell people about for coming up in October, I'm happy to do it.
Now just go to Facebook and check the calendar for later in September, October. I'm not exactly sure. There's stuff going on all the time.
Okay.
So, or if you have somebody out of town that wants to drive, if you're a couple hours away, maybe you can pick a night to come down for an event, and then the next day come and check out the shop. I mean, we'd love to have you.
Tourist attraction.
Hey, there's plenty of places.
I'm serious.
You can come get a tattoo if you want.
Man,
you can get I'm not doing any piercings, but there's everything. There's a lot of culture here.
There is. There's
a lot of great restaurants too.
Caribbean place right across the street now.
Soul Gastro is incredible. That's probably the best restaurant in the neighborhood.
I haven't been there in a while.
It's my favorite. I like the Dish is a southern food place.
Right.
Whiskey Warehouse has got a great rooftop. Peculiar Rabbit. There's a dozen places here, if not more. To grab a drink or lunch or dinner. And it's all walking distance, so it makes it nice. And we're right in the middle of all that, which makes our place even, I think, like the perfect place because you can go 2 doors down and get coffee at Nova's, or you can go to Pizza Pill. You can go to Workman's Friend, which is a great Irish pub, 2 places down, so same side of the street as us.
No, it's a great little. That's what I wasn't even joking. I mean, little tourist attraction. People come to Charlotte, just come to the guitar shop because even if you're not a guitar player, it's a beautiful place to just check out and take some pictures and say, "Hey, look at this."
We have the CPCC has a photography class, and they come in here like probably once a month. There might be a dozen students come here and take pictures.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're walking around the neighborhood. Like, can we come in? I'm like, yeah, come on in here. And we have a lot of people just walk in the neighborhood on Friday or Saturday, and they just walk in, and they don't realize what it is, and they're like, oh wow, can we take pictures? I'm like, sure. Somebody even asked us to go, could I take high school graduation pictures here? I'm like, yeah. Seriously, really? It's about a month ago. Yeah, it was about a month ago. There was a kid that came in here to play guitar, and he loved this place. And then his mom called, and I was like, sure. And they came up here and had a photographer, and they spent like 30 minutes and did his high school pictures here in the studio. So it was pretty neat.
Oh man,
they were happy. And she was, "Is it going to cost anything?" I'm like, no, it's not. And we had a local guy that emailed us over the weekend wanting to rent the space for a rehearsal dinner for his wedding. He's getting married in the neighborhood and was looking for a local place and loved the shop. And I was like, sure. I haven't worked it out yet, but I was we can make it work. But I said, you need to know how many people how many tables you want. You want a big table? You want a small table? I said, we don't cater, but we'll have the space. And he goes, I understand that. So whatever. So during the holidays, I'm probably looking at, a plug-in in our site is that we will rent the space out for corporate parties or people that are having parties in the holiday time. It'd be a neat place to have music or dinner or cater. I mean,
you didn't even think of that when you first started.
Yeah,
did you?
well, I think my wife did. She was like, we got to figure out some other stuff to do. And my wife's been very supportive, so I would like to tell my wife, Dawn, thank you for letting me do this. So,
well, if you go to the Facebook page for the Queen City Music Podcast, I'm going to have a whole bunch of pictures up of the shop. So when I say it's beautiful, you'll say, wow, I haven't been there. I got to go see this in person because it is lovely. And of course the instruments are great too. But that's just walking through the doors.
I
you're
appreciate
just like,
that.
wow, this is.
But like I said, I couldn't really screw it up a whole lot because it was such a neat place. It already had a lot of character. It looks a lot better, but I'm very happy with. I wouldn't have really done anything any differently, to be honest with you. And we did this fast too. We got the building in April, and then I hired D3 Studio Architects, which is 2 blocks from here. They're right down the street, and they didn't really do the detail work, but they did our plans, our wall, electrical, mechanical design. They did all that. And we got a permit I think we got the permit middle of June, and then my wife and I built a house out in Waxhaw about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Dwight Hunter, his son Wesley's 25, 26, and they were like in between jobs. Our houses, and I said, hey man, I'm doing a renovation project and all the commercial guys are busy and the price is ridiculous. I said, is there any way you could help me out? He goes, yeah man. I said, I give you Wesley, you just pay his first time every week and then you just pay my subs direct. I'm like, okay. And so Wesley did a hell of a job. Wesley was out here at least 4 or 5 days a week, and Wesley managed all the work and used all his subs that he uses normally in the residential business, and
wow, they
did a phenomenal job. And I'm very happy with Dwight and Wesley, a great kid, and I couldn't have done this without him. So I had all the ideas, but he executed all of them.
So you got the 3, I guess, main rooms. You got the main room, you've got this acoustic room / recording room, and then you've got the repair shop.
Yeah, we have about, it's not huge. We have about 3,000 feet total, and about 1,500's out front. And then Craig's shop's about 500 square feet, and this room's maybe 400 or 500 square feet. And then we have storage in the back, and we have a break room / green room / whatever guitar. Now we built shelves back there, and now we have like 100 guitar cases hanging up. It's about the ceiling back there's about 15 feet, so it's really high. Right. So it's really a cool loft, and but we have guitar cases back there, so that kind of makes up the space. And we've kind of filled it up, so it's,
that's a good problem.
We're not out of space, but we've maximized almost every square feet we have. So
that's good. I mean, you don't have a bunch of space sitting around.
No. The only thing that's the warehouse space, which is in the back, and our guys done a good job. And every once in a while, we got to purge and throw away stuff, boxes, because we can't ship so much stuff. So we just ordered some new guitar boxes, and we've got some other boxes that aren't quite as good to ship with, and I cut them up and take them. Actually, I take them to Wesley's got a dumpster in the neighborhood still, so I take them home, and he lets me use his dumpster, so I get rid of the junk. So it's all good.
Don't let that get out, because then
they're not.
Town will be mad at you.
They're not going to drive out there.
City of Charlotte wants their money.
we actually got the guys next door let us use their dumpster for regular trash. So.
Shh, keep that on a low down.
It's all good.
Well, Douglas, man, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been a blast talking to you and finding out about the guitar shop. Anything else you want to add, fill us in about that you got coming up?
I enjoyed talking with you too. It's been a great afternoon, and I'm just glad you came and
thank you.
To spread the word about Midwood Guitar Studio to your listeners, and we're available anytime. We'd be glad to have another one later in the year. Whenever you want to come back, you're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
But I want you to check out some of the music in the future. That's the one thing.
Yes.
That I want you to do. And same thing for your listeners. If
maybe one night I'll come in, I'll set up this stuff, and we can do an interview with some of the artists who come in for it. If that's
maybe
we could work that out.
Yeah, we could probably do that with I could work that out.
Let them know, and maybe we can cut that into an episode and talk to some of the folks about it. You let me know which artists.
Yeah, I'll do that.
We want to try to do.
I'd say it's going to be late October. I'll email you the details on that, but I think that would be great. But
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody's time, and we're working to be the best store in the country is my goal. So I mean, it's not the biggest, but we want to deliver the best experience,
Right.
and the best customer service. And I don't think we have ship fast on there, but that's a priority for me. If you buy something tonight, it's going to go out tomorrow. And like I told you earlier, a lot of times if the truck driver's already come by, I'll drop stuff off myself. Because I try to treat the customers like I want to be treated if I buy something. I don't expect immediate service, but if somebody ships something in 24 hours, and then that your sale means something to them, I think. And that's how I want to treat them, whether you're in here or the shipping business. And then same thing with email. Some people say, well, I'm off the clock at 5. I'm like, well, not really.
Right.
I don't expect you to work all night, but somebody's scanning Reverb or Facebook or whatever and ask a question. He's ready to buy something.
I got an answer.
If you don't get an answer in a couple hours, somebody else answers him, then you just lost a sale.
Right.
I'm not saying that's right, but sometimes I'm not asking anybody to stay up all night, but if or it could be in general. To me, it's like if someone contacts you or the store, I expect some type of response within reasonable time frame,
right?
Regardless of what it is, whether it's a sale or question, or I think it's just, I wouldn't call it email etiquette, but that's kind of a pain for me with people that don't address. I don't want to answer in 5 minutes, but by the end of the day, I'd like a response or less.
And customer service is key.
I don't know if that's
you can't run a business without it.
That's we had one other day and we didn't respond back in time, and the guy's like, never mind. Somebody answered me. I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where when you're shopping, especially on the internet, there are people looking for a deal, or if you got it in stock and they want to develop some type of rapport with you,
right.
Your store, right? And if you're available, then maybe that helps sell the deal. Or just our staff is very technical too. So if we ever get them to call the shop, I mean, they can talk on the phone for 30, 45 minutes about gear. So, anyways, sorry for rambling.
No, it's not rambling at all, man. I like learning about what's happening.
Oh, that's all. That's nothing technical about that. It's just basic. I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even have any retail experience. I mean, all I've done has been a contractor my whole life. So, but being in that business, it's a service business too, and it's an interaction with people, and it's no different really. I mean, we're selling instruments. I'm not building buildings or stuff like that, but it's really not any different as far as from the business standpoint.
Yeah, but the fact that you're already successful in the first 9 months of the shop, that proves that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
A lot of new businesses close within the first year.
It's tough. I mean, we actually were excited. We submitted we had a really good, we've done really well this year. I mean, for being brand new. So I was proud of everybody. So I took the whole staff to Nashville to the NAMM show. So we closed.
I was supposed to go.
It was pretty.
I didn't get a chance to go this year.
It was an expensive trip, but we all went.
Right.
And we all had a great time, and they got to experience that relationship. We've had there was probably 5 or 6 of our builders there.
Team building.
They got to hang out and whatever, have a drink, a coffee, whatever, and just enjoy Nashville and be around the industry. And I thought that was exciting. We also were named.
Did you guys set up a shop? I'm sorry.
No, we didn't. It's mainly for the big builders to display.
Right.
So the dealers don't really display. You could, but they're there to sell instruments basically. But we were named one of the NAMM top 100 dealers for the first year, which was I think I'm very proud of that. I filled it out. I found out about it last minute. I filled it out and then they said, like a month later, they go, congratulations, you made the NAMM top 100. I'm like, wow. We weren't even open 4 months when I did it because I submitted it like.
You got to advertise that on the website.
Yeah,
put that up.
We're working on that, but we're going to do a bit better job next year. And we all went to the dinner, so we were waiting, but we didn't make the top 6 or whatever. But anyways, technically we only had about 4 months, so.
Yeah, but just to make the top 100 in the first year, that's still an
It wasn't
accomplishment.
that wasn't really a goal of mine, but it was something that was attainable. So now it's like, you know what, next year we're going to submit again and do a better job and, create a positive experience. So anyways, it'll work itself out. So I'm having a good time, and I enjoy being here and doing what I'm doing. So
Well, much success to you, man, now and in the future. So
Thank you so much.
hey, thanks again for coming in and allowing me to come to you and record here with you and talk
Anytime.
with you for a bit.
You're so welcome. I appreciate your time.
All right, guys, coming down to Plaza Midwood and check out the Midwood Guitar Studio. And while you're here, you can say hello to Mr. Douglas Armstrong or Dan, the manager. All right, guys, take care. I'm out.